Alright guys, time for some more maintenance on the Z4. We're going to be doing the front main seal on the N54 Z4. Right now, as you guys know, it's all taken apart, so the radiator's currently not in there. It'll look very different, but you can see from previous videos of how I got this far. As for doing the front main seal, I'm pretty sure you have to take out the radiator just to have enough room to slip the old seal off. But I'll show you guys how much room I'm working with as we're doing it so that you guys know if you need to take out the radiator or not. Here I have a specific toolkit to do the job. As you can see, we're going to be working with this to remove the front main seal and this to put the new one on. Actually, there's a screw stuck in here. That shouldn't be in there.
How'd that get in there?
But I'll put that over here. So I'll show you guys how to use this, but we're going to be using this one first. Here we have our parts. So the kit from FCP Euro, it came with all the parts to seal the actual front main seal onto the engine, but it did not come with the seal itself. So the seal will have to be bought separately apart from the installation kit. So it does get a little pricey, but lifetime warranty on all this. So as long as you keep the old things, you can return them and get new ones. Here's where I'm at on the Z4. As you can see, a lot has been removed. It should be pretty similar to the 335 or the 135i. So here we got all this extra room. So you may be able to get away with the radiator. I don't think so much with the CSF radiator just because it's a lot bulkier. But as you can see here, I'm going to go ahead and clean this up a little more. But we're going to be able to slip on that tool that I showed you guys earlier to remove the seal and then go from there. So I'll get back to you guys once I have really cleaned this area. Here's the tool, and as you can see, this is about how much clearance you will need to get that tool on to remove the front main seal. So you can see maybe it's kind of hard to measure, but it's about 3 inches that you'll have between here and the end of this bolt. So now that I have this on here, I can go ahead and screw it by hand. And once I can't screw it in any longer, I'm going to use a wrench to tighten it even more. But you should only have a few threads left before you want to actually start pulling the seal out. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up, and then once I get to the point to where I need to pull the seal out, I'll show you guys. Alright, so I ended up using this AN wrench to tighten down the tool to get it deep enough. So there's about 3 or 4 threads left on here, and I can barely turn it anymore. Maybe you guys can get it a little further. I don't know, it might be different on different front main seals and depending on how bad they are. My front main seal actually ended up breaking up in the process a little bit, so some chunks did fall out. Here's the long bolt here. It's a 19, I believe. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this, and as I tighten this bolt, it should start pulling out the front main seal, so I'll show you guys what it looks like once it's out. So honestly, this was really super sketchy to get out. Maybe because I got the toolkit from Amazon and it was a little dented up, but I would really suggest that you guys get this deep enough where there's only like at least 4 threads left on the tool to remove the front main seal, because it was starting to seem like it wasn't going to come out all the way, but it did. And you can see where it started to break up right there. You can see in the groove there in the middle between the tool itself and the seal, but none of it got inside of the crank area, so that's really good. That does it with this tool here. Now we're going to do some more cleaning here and prepping with the primer that was given to us by FCP Euro. So we're going to prime the new seal and the area here, but like I said, I'm going to do some more cleaning. Now we have this primer here, and in this bottle is a little brush. What we're going to do is put that on the grooves of this seal. So as you can see, there's a groove there and a groove here. We're going to paint it on those grooves, and then we're also going to put it on this connecting line right here. It's kind of hard to see, you guys, but I promise if you look close enough, you're gonna see a line here. And then I would like to get some in the inside a little bit as well as here. So same on the other side on the line, and then some on the inside. Let that sit for maybe 10 minutes or so. Nobody really has a time. Yeah, this primer doesn't really have a setting time on it, but we're gonna let it sit for 10 minutes. So I did clean this up as best as I could. Remember, prep work is always important. So make sure you take your time cleaning this area. And now I'm gonna go ahead and put this on. After I'm done putting that primer on, I'm also gonna be using this tool here. So as you can see, there's the nut, and then this is gonna press in the seal, and this is gonna go on to the crank. So we're gonna put this on first. So what I'll do is, after I put the primer in those areas, I'm gonna go ahead and mount this up. As you can see, the primer is setting on the seal, both sides here. And then we also have the primer on the crank area itself. And the tool is mounted there. Just be very careful to not cross thread these bolts and make sure they're going in properly. They shouldn't be too hard to put in, especially because they're really small. Now that that's on, the next thing that would go on is the seal. And the seal only goes one way. As you can see, it's like a cone shape. So this would be the front. So that'll go in first. And then the block here will go on top of it, and then the nut here will go on the end, and we'll make sure that it goes evenly, and we line up those grooves with those lines that I told you on this, on the engine itself, which you should be able to see better in person on opposite sides. So that's very important that you line up those grooves over here with those lines on the engine, and that the seal gets pressed on evenly. But I'll show you guys once I put the seal on and that mounting block on what it looks like. This is what we have right now. We have the seal on there lined up with the grooves. So you can see the plastic went onto that mounting bracket, and then I pushed back the seal a little bit, try to even it out. Now it's time to use the final tool here, and that's this block. So we're gonna line up the block. Once again, make sure it's even. Bolt this on all the way until you can't go any further, because it's gonna push it in a little farther than surface level. So it's gonna be a little deeper once this tool's done. That's how it's supposed to work. I don't know, again, this is an Amazon one. Hopefully it works like it's supposed to. It has a little lip on it. Maybe I did not make a good choice on the Amazon, because like I said, I ran into that issue with the tool to take it out, which is over there with the seal still on there. But let's get to it. So you guys can see again, that block is on evenly and the nut is on the end. So we're gonna go ahead and tighten this now all the way. Here it is, tightened all the way. As you can see, it is flush with the engine, and I'm going to remove it now, but we still have that last step, which is the sealant here. So this comes in two pieces. We have that and then this, and we're gonna try to inject it in those grooves. So that'll be the next step. So I'm gonna get that set up and then remove this and get that flowing. So when you get that sealer flowing into the grooves, you just want to put enough that when it's starting to come out of there, then you'll know it's done. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to get this off quick. The toolkit is now off, so it's just plain as day now. So that's all we got on the engine. But now we're going to go ahead and put the sealer into the outermost part of the seal here, where the grooves were on each side. And once we pump that and it starts to flow out on each side, we're gonna go over it with some more of that primer. Here's the setup that we have to inject the sealant, which is really weird, but whatever, I guess. This is the setup that they use just for injecting sealer, I guess. but it's this giant bolt that goes onto the sealer here, and then you have the needle at the end. And then we are going to use the primer again once we're done pumping the sealant into those grooves on the side of the front main seal. I'll include a document here just to kind of show a better reference for you guys, so I'll pop it in here. Let's get to it. And that does it, guys. I have the primer on the edges here where the two ends meet, like I was talking about before. So the primer's all on there. After I pumped the sealant into these edges here on the outermost part of the front main seal. So now most people go ahead and actually put everything back together. So the harmonic balancer, the crank guard seal if you have one, the crank bolt capture kit, all that good stuff. If you have it, you put it back together, put the car back together and run it. But some people also recommend waiting 24 hours for everything to set. Since my car is in the middle of being under construction, I am going to wait for 24 hours, which is nice. So I don't have to really worry about it. But for other people that are doing this on their daily driver, I would still recommend waiting. But if you can't, then I don't think it would be too bad to just put everything back together and get the car running again. Well guys, that job was a pain in the ass. I didn't expect it to be so tedious. It's just better to take your time, so make sure you guys take your time when you're doing this so that you don't mess anything up and then have to redo all of that tedious work. That would definitely suck for you guys. So if you have any questions about it or anything that I did miss, I don't think I missed anything, but it should help you get this job done. Just let me know down below and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.